On March 25th, 2025, the world was stunned by the sudden and mysterious death of Gene Hackman. At 95, the legendary actor, along with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found deceased in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. What made this tragedy even more perplexing was that authorities believed they had been dead for over a week before their bodies were discovered. While investigations continue, many questions remain unanswered. Was it natural causes, an accident, or something more sinister? To understand the impact of Hackman's passing, we must first explore his extraordinary life, his rise to Hollywood superstardom, and the legacy he left behind. This article will delve into not only his cinematic achievements, but also the personal struggles, triumphs, and mysteries that surrounded him until the very end. Gene Hackman was born Eugene Allen Hackman on January 30th, 1930, in San Bernardino, California. Carved out a legendary career in Hollywood that spanned over 6 decades, known for his intense performances and commanding screen presence. Hackman collected an impressive array of accolades, including 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTA Awards, 4 Golden Globes, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and the Silver Bear. His Oscar-winning roles in The French Connection and Unforgiven solidified his status as one of the greatest actors of his generation. He also received nominations for his performances in Bonnie and Clyde, I Never Sang for My Father, and Mississippi Burning. Despite his immense talent, Hackman's journey to stardom wasn't immediate. His early years in Hollywood were marked by struggle, perseverance, and an unshakable determination to succeed beyond acting Hackman LED. A life filled with diverse interests, a devoted animal lover. He often spoke about the joy he found in spending time with his pets. He also deeply appreciated art, collecting an extensive range of paintings, sculptures, and other artistic works. His love for travel took him around the world, where he immersed himself in new cultures and experiences, an avid outdoorsman. Hackman found solace in fishing, often retreating to quiet lakes and rivers to enjoy the tranquility of nature. His passion for sports extended to professional football, where he was a dedicated fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, frequently attending games as a guest of former head coach Jack Del Rio. Despite his public career, Hackman was deeply private about his personal life. He was married to Faye Maltese for over 3 decades, and together they had 3 children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Before divorcing in 1986, he later found love again with Betsy Araki, whom he married in 2008. December 1991. Hackman's lineage can be traced back to Pennsylvania Dutch. English and Scottish ancestry with his mother, Anna Leda. Elizabeth originally hailing from Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, his life in Hollywood also brought him close to notable figures, such as musician Christopher Stefferson Hackman. Success in the film industry translated into financial prosperity. His career-defining roles came with lucrative paychecks, allowing him to build an impressive fortune. In 1972, he starred in The Poseidon Adventure, earning a staggering $1.2 million for his gripping performance. His role as the cunning Lex Luthor in 1978. Superman and its sequels further cemented his legacy and added a cool $2 million to his earnings. But acting wasn't his only source of income. Hackman's deep, authoritative voice made him a sought-after figure for brand endorsements. Most notably as the voice behind Lowe's Home Center store commercials, which significantly boosted the company's brand recognition with a net worth estimated at $80 million. Hackman enjoyed the kind of financial security that allowed him to pursue his passions on his terms. One of his most cherished possessions was his sprawling 12-acre estate in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He and Betsy extensively remodeled the property, creating an architectural masterpiece that reflected a mix of Pueblo colonial New Mexico and Spanish styles. The interior was completely reimagined. Walls were removed to create vast open spaces, including a grand living area, supported by striking tree trunk columns. Plush sofas and a state-of-the-art stereo system added to the home's warmth, filling it with the music. Hackman loved the home's earthy tones and expansive windows, made it the perfect retreat, blending harmoniously with the rugged beauty of the New Mexico landscape. Before settling in Santa Fe, Hackman had owned several luxurious properties in the 80s. He lived on a 25-acre estate in Montecito, California, which he sold for $5 million. In 1985, decades later, the same property would be resold for a staggering $25 million. Another of his former homes, a breathtaking estate in Pebble Beach, California, was put on the market for $79 million. In 2012, his taste in luxury extended beyond real estate. Hackman had an enviable collection of classic cars, including a 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500, a 1957 Chevrolet Corvette, a 1964 Aston Martin DB, 5 Rare, Bristol 401, a Ferrari, a Porsche, 911, and a Rolls-Royce. He also owned a yacht and a private jet, ensuring that he traveled in style wherever he went. Hackman's story began in Danville, Illinois, where he developed an interest in acting at just 10 years old. But the path to his Hollywood dream took a detour when at the age of 16 he dropped out of Storm Lake High School in Iowa and enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps. By lying about his age, he served for 4.5 years as a field radio operator, an experience that would later shape his disciplined approach to acting. After being discharged in 1951, he moved to New York and later attended the University of Illinois to study television production and journalism. However, his true calling remained acting, and in 1956, he took a leap of faith enrolling in the Pasadena Playhouse Theater in Los Angeles. It was there that he befriended fellow aspiring actor Dustin Hoffman, a friendship that would endure as both struggled to make it in the industry. In 1957, Hackman moved to New York City, sharing an apartment with Hoffman, and grinding through small roles in theater. His persistence paid off in 1958, when he landed a part in the off-Broadway production of Chaparral. By 1961, he made his big screen debut in Mad Dog Cole and appeared in the television series Tallahassee 7000. But his real breakthrough came in 1964, when director Robert Rosen cast him in Lilith, a role that put him on Hollywood's radar. Hackman's career took off in the 70s with standout performances in I Never Sang for My Father and The French Connection, the latter earning him his first Academy Award. Throughout the decade, he continued delivering critically acclaimed performances, including his portrayal of Lex Luthor in Superman in 1978, a role he reprised in 1978, Superman 2 in 1980, and Superman Nanga, The Quest for Peace in 1987. His versatility allowed him to shift seamlessly between action drama and comedy, with performances in films like Mississippi, Burning Hoosiers, and The Royal Tenenbaums, the latter earning him immense praise for his nuanced portrayal of a dysfunctional family patriarch. Hackman's final film, Welcome to Mooseport in 2004, marked the end of an illustrious acting career, though fans hoped for a comeback. He chose to retire from Hollywood, turning his creative energy toward writing. He published several novels, including Payback at Morning Peak in 2011, and Pursued in 2013, demonstrating his storytelling prowess beyond the silver screen. Despite his retirement, he briefly returned to narrate 2 Marine Corps documentaries. the unknown flag raiser of Iwo Jima, and We the Marines paying tribute to his military roots. Though Hackman stepped away from the spotlight, his legacy remains unshaken. His body of work continues to inspire new generations of actors, and his name is etched in Hollywood history as one of the greatest talents to ever grace the screen. But what was Gene Hackman's biggest sacrifice for fame? And did he ever regret walking away? Stay glued to find out the cost of fame. Gene Hackman's biggest regret: when Gene Hackman set out to become an actor, he never imagined the sacrifices ahead. Hollywood didn't just demand hard work. It took everything in 1956. He was a struggling nobody, working odd jobs to get by. But he had something rare. Faye Maltese, the woman who believed in him. When no one else did that year, they married and started a modest life, raising 3 children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Then, in 1967, everything changed. His role in Bonnie and Clyde earned him an Academy Award nomination, launching him to stardom by the early 70s. He was headlining films like The French Connection and the Poseidon Adventure Studios. Lined-up money flowed in, and Hollywood consumed him the more successful he became. The more distant he grew from his family, late-night calls became rare. Family dinners faded. His world was film sets, premieres, and endless commitments. Faye waited, hoping things would change. They never did after 30 years of marriage. They quietly divorced in 1986 years later. Hackman admitted, "I was away for too long. I don't have any advice to give." But his regrets didn't stop there. In 1962, his mother, Anna Elizabeth Hackman, died in a house fire after falling asleep with a lit cigarette. She had always believed in him. Yet by the time he made it, she was gone. If he could show her one film, he once said it would be I Never Sang for My Father in 1970, a story that mirrored his own life. Then in 1982, his closest friend, Norman Gary, died unexpectedly. The sudden loss raised speculation about financial troubles and left Hackman reeling. He drowned himself in work, delivering some of his best performances under fire in 1983. Hoosiers in 1986, and Mississippi Burning in 1988. Then came Betsy Arakawa, a classical pianist with no ties to Hollywood. She gave him something he never had. Peace They Married in 1991. And this time Hackman made a different choice. He walked away from Hollywood's grip. But even as he stepped away from the industry that had defined so much of his life, his legacy remained impossible to ignore. But what caused Gene Hackman to walk away at the height of his career, never glancing back? Stay tuned to discover celebrity reactions to Gene Hackman's death. In 2004, Gene Hackman sat across from Larry King and dismissed the notion of being a star. Warren Beatty is a star. Robert Redford is a star. Brad Pitt is a star. I never think of myself that way. He admitted, and yet Hackman, one of the most celebrated actors in Hollywood history, carved out a career so impactful that even today fellow actors struggle to describe his brilliance. Tom Hanks put it simply, there has never been a Gene Hackman type. There's only been Gene Hackman. News of Hackman's passing, at the age of 95, has sent waves through Hollywood, with tributes pouring in from those who worked alongside him and those who merely admired him from afar. Pedro Pascal, who considered Hackman his all-time favorite actor, echoed what many in the industry feel an immense loss. Viola Davis, who entered the film industry years after Hackman's retirement, paid homage to his body of work, citing The French Connection, Unforgiven, and The Poseidon Adventure as examples of his unparalleled talent, tough yet vulnerable. She wrote, "You're one of the greats. Rest well, sir." Hackman walked away from acting in 2004, making it official in a 2008 interview. I haven't held a press conference to announce my retirement. But yes, I'm not going to act any longer, he told Reuters. I've been advised not to say that over the years, in case a great role came along. But honestly, I don't want to do it anymore. It was a rare move in an industry where actors often work, until their final days. Christopher Plummer famously said, "I'd rather die on stage." But Hackman was different. He knew when to step away. Hackman left an indelible mark for those fortunate enough to have worked with him. Will Smith recalled being mesmerized by his performance in Enemy of the State. "He's not doing anything," Smith said, recalling his time on set with Hackman. "But I can't stop watching him." Smith described Hackman's ability to embody his characters so completely that he never seemed to be acting. His thoughts belonged entirely to the role, free from self-consciousness or vanity, an absolute force of nature. Smith wrote, "I'm blessed to have learned from him." Clint Eastwood, who directed Hackman in Unforgiven, called him intense and instinctive. Never a false note. Morgan Freeman, who shared the screen with him in both Unforgiven and Under Suspicion, said Hackman's generosity as a performer elevated everyone's work. Kevin Costner, who starred alongside him in No Way Out, and White Earth, recalled a brief but profound moment with Hackman on an MGM lot. "He pulled me aside and said, 'When I saw you fighting for what you wanted today, it reminded me of how I used to feel about acting.'" Costner said that small exchange left a lasting impact on him as an actor and director. Though best known for his dramatic roles, Hackman proved his comedic prowess in The Birdcage in The Royal Tenenbaums. Nathan Lane called it a privilege to share the screen with him, while Gwyneth Paltrow, his on-screen daughter in The Royal Tenenbaums, posted a simple, broken heart emoji. In tribute, even Prince William acknowledged his passing, calling him a true genius of film, whose performances were defined by power, authenticity, and star quality. Hackman's final film, Welcome to Mooseport in 2004, left many wishing for a stronger send-off when asked in a 2011 GQ interview. If he'd consider one more film, he joked, "Maybe if I could do it from my house, without anyone disturbing anything." But as Josh Brolin said, Hackman beat to his own drum. He had already given everything he had to the screen. And for the last 20 years of his life, he simply enjoyed his well-earned privacy for a man who never considered himself a star. The tributes from Hollywood tell a different story. But what was the unique bond between Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington that set them apart in Hollywood? Stay tuned to find out the unbelievable connection between Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. Gene Hackman, Denzel Washington, two legendary actors, two cinematic powerhouses. Yet they've only ever shared the screen once. Their collaboration in Crimson Tide left an indelible mark on Hollywood. But their similarities extend far beyond that. One film from their passion for storytelling to their unforgettable performances. These two icons have far more in common than most people realize. And the most shocking fact, neither of them has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Both Hackman and Washington have a deep admiration for historical narratives. Hackman channeled this passion into writing Escape from Andersonville, a novel set during the Civil War. Yet despite his fascination with the era, he never portrayed a Civil War character on screen. Washington, on the other hand, brought history to life and glory in 1989. A performance that earned him his first Academy Award beyond history. Both actors have left their mark on the Western genre. Pacino delivered a chilling performance as the ruthless sheriff in The Quick and the Dead in 1995. while Washington stepped into the boots of a gunslinger in 1995. The Magnificent Seven in 2016. Their ability to embody tough, commanding roles made them legends in Hollywood, each bringing a unique intensity to their characters. Their Oscar wins also stand as a testament to their unparalleled talent. Hackman claimed 2 Academy Awards, one for The French Connection in 1971, and another for Unforgiven in 1992. Washington matched that feat, securing his second Oscar for Training Day in 2001. Both men thrived in 2001 roles that blurred the lines between hero and villain, showcasing their versatility and depth as actors. Despite their legendary careers, they remain among the rare A-list actors without stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for all their contributions to cinema. It's shocking that neither has received this honor. When Hackman and Washington finally shared the screen, the result was electric Crimson Tide. In 1995, directed by the late, great Tony Scott, remains one of the most gripping submarine thrillers of all time. The film pits Hackman's old-school hard-nose, Captain Frank Ramsey, against Washington's calculated and cool-headed Lieutenant Commander Hunter, set against the backdrop of a nuclear crisis. Their clash over whether to launch missiles at a Russian base turns into a gripping battle of power principles and control. The tension between them was palpable. Ramsey, a commander of the old guard, believed in following orders without question, while Hunter, representing a new era of military leadership, challenged him at every turn. Their ideological battle became the heart of the film, and watching these 2 acting giants go head-to-head was nothing short of mesmerizing. Washington later reflected on the experience, calling it one of the most exhilarating moments of his career. Toe-to-toe with Hackman. Gene was great. That was one of the exciting things about doing Crimson Tide. Getting the opportunity to go head-to-head with him. Washington recalled he went on to praise the film's deeper themes, noting how it wasn't just about action, but about moral dilemmas. These 2 characters diametrically opposed, thrust into a situation with the highest stakes imaginable. Who's right, who's wrong? What if I was wrong? Hackman delivered a performance so commanding that the audience was left on edge, never knowing when he might explode. His portrayal of Ramsey Stern, authoritative and dangerously impulsive, was unforgettable. Yet despite the film's success, the U.S. Navy refused to support its production, finding the portrayal of military leadership inaccurate and offensive. In a devastating turn of events, the world was left reeling when news broke of Gene Hackman's sudden and tragic passing. His wife, Betsy Arakawa, and their beloved dog were also found dead in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home. The circumstances surrounding their deaths remain a mystery, as law enforcement officials continue their investigation. Denzel Washington, upon hearing the shocking news, expressed his disbelief and sorrow. When I found out that Gene Hackman and his wife had died under suspicious circumstances, I was in utter disbelief. Washington said, I never imagined in my life that something like this could happen to them. It's devastating to think that such a tragedy has occurred. The case remains shrouded in uncertainty as authorities await search warrants and additional evidence. Speculation swirls about what truly happened that night. Was it an accident? Was there foul play involved until more details emerge? Those closest to Hackman are left searching for answers. Washington, like many others in Hollywood, is demanding justice until a thorough investigation is conducted. No one will truly know what happened. He stated firmly, I want the authorities to take this case seriously, ensuring that the truth comes out. The world deserves to know who was behind this horrifying event. Hackman was more than just an actor. He was a legend. his performances captivated audiences for decades, leaving behind an extraordinary body of work that will be remembered for generations. Washington described him as one of the greatest talents in the industry, a man who brought complex characters to life with raw authenticity. He entertained millions with his incredible acting talent, won hearts, and reached great heights through sheer dedication. Washington said, and yet, someone did something so terrible to such a good person. This is truly heartbreaking, as Hollywood mourns the loss of one of its most respected figures. The investigation into Hackman's death continues. Friends, colleagues, and fans wait anxiously for answers, hoping that the truth will finally come to light. But what do you think really happened to Gene Hackman and his wife? That fateful night, was it an accident or something far more sinister? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.